Israel has carried out drone strikes near Syria's capital hours after a controversial Druze leader pressed the government to act in the interests of the religious minority. Violence erupted in Syria's predominantly Druze towns of Jaramana and Sahnaya earlier this week between members of the Druze community and Sunni Muslim gunmen, killing more than a dozen people. As footage of the attacks spread, Israel's government intervened on Wednesday, launching aerial strikes outside of Damascus, saying it was targeting an extremist group. But the attack only seemed to escalate the violence. This morning, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reported 15 Druze fighters were killed in an ambush by Sunni groups near the capital, bringing the death toll to over 30. The violence was reportedly sparked by a recording that showed a Druze man cursing the Prophet Muhammad, but this, Druze leaders have insisted, was fabricated to sow division among the people of the same nation. Meanwhile, Syria's foreign ministry rejected all forms of foreign intervention and reiterated its commitment to protecting all of its citizens.
While the airstrikes in Syria have been widely reported as Israel's warning against extremists, locals and experts in Syria have instead warned of a disguised attempt by Netanyahu's government to destabilize its Islamic neighbor. Israel's airstrikes on Syria came hours after the nation's Druze leader called on Israel, the Jews around the world, and the international community to act now, immediately, to prevent a massacre. Muwaffaq Tarif maintains close ties with the Israeli government, who framed the strike that followed his words as a warning to prevent harm to the Druze. But Lebanese Druze leader Walid Jumblat, pictured here, warned Israel seeks to exploit the Druze to create internal strife in Syria. And in contrast to Israeli and foreign media reports linking Syria's sectarian attacks to its transitional government, Syria's Interior Ministry has called for calm and said it is investigating the origins of the recording that seemed to have provoked the racist violence. Meanwhile, the country's highest-ranking Islamic jurist, Grand Mufti Osama al-Rifai, condemned the spilling of any Syrian blood as haram or
إياكم وأن تسمعوا لأصوات الثأر والانتقام. دماؤكم محرمة. كل دم سوري محرم. قطرة دم واحدة من أي فرد من أفراد هذا البلد غالية على قلوبنا، لا ينبغي التفريط فيها بحال من الأحوال. أيها الإخوة والأحبة، إياكم أن تسمعوا لصوت الشيطان. صوت الشيطان هو الذي يدعو إلى الثأر والانتقام، وهو الذي يدعو إلى إشعال الفتنة وإذكائها فيما بيننا. ينبغي أن نتحد اليوم أمام هذه الفتنة التي يشعلها أعداء الله ورسوله وأعداء الأمة وأعداء الإنسانية وأعداء هذا الوطن.
The Druze are not a homogenous group, and the most powerful Druze militias in Syria have actually signed a security agreement with Damascus, working jointly with the government forces to end internal fighting. Middle East Eye spoke to Druze residents of Sanaya, where the worst attacks took place this week. They said Syrian security forces came with full respect and politeness.
الإخوة اجوا بكل احترام بكل أدب. نعم. قالوا للشباب طبعا المظاهر مسلحة ما بدهم وما كان في مظاهر مسلحة موجودة هون. نعم. قالوا للشباب بس بعدوا عن المناطق المقنوصة لأنه كانوا عم يلاحقوا عصابات إرهابية هي اللي افتعلت المشكلة من امبارح. عصابات خارجة عن القانون، امبارح قتلوا 11 واحد أو 16 واحد من وزارة الداخلية. من وزارة الداخلية، ونحن كنا شفنا هذا الحديث امبارح حتى شفناه متلفز، والله يكون معهم، ونحن شفناهم اليوم، ونحن اليوم مساعدين لهم وقلنا لهم شو بتريدوا نحن جاهزين. نحن جاهزين أبدا. ولاقوا العالم بكل احترام وكل أدب، وما حكوا مع حدا ولا كلمة بتسيء لأي شخص. نعم. ونحن بمعية مشايخنا، طبعا احنا قدوتنا مشايخنا ملتزمين بكلامهم، نحن مستنيين هلا لحتى يعطونا امر انه المنطقه او الحارات صارت امنه لحتى ان شاء الله.
Israel has declared a national emergency after 2 days of wildfires just outside of Jerusalem. Thousands were forced to evacuate as fires erupted along the Jerusalem-Tel Aviv highway, with high temperatures and strong winds fueling the blaze. Israel has requested international assistance, with Greece, Croatia, Italy, and Cyprus deploying firefighting resources.
And finally, Ukraine's government has signed a controversial trade agreement granting the United States unfettered access to its rare earth minerals. This follows months of pressure from US President Donald Trump for Ukraine to repay more than $180 billion worth of military aid and training, which it received from the US since the start of Russia's invasion in 2022. Ukraine sits on a large reserve of graphite, titanium, and lithium, key materials sought by the US to fuel its military and technology sectors. Now stay tuned as we look at the ongoing hearings at the International Court of Justice, where Israel is defending its shutdown of UNRWA, the United Nations humanitarian agency in Palestine.